What is going on, everyone? Chris from PickDogs.com here with Jovan on Saturday, July. Oh my God, I pulled a Brad. I pulled a Brad. Brad did that on the PickDogs Instagram yesterday. January 18th. I wish it was July. January 18th, 2025. Here with your live show. We're showing up on the weekends, giving you all the plays on the card. We got college hoops today, a stacked card, 148 games on the college hoops card, NHL, NBA. And we got a couple NFL games on the board. Just me and Jovan right now. We'll see if people pop in later on today. But if it's just the two of us, you guys know you're going to get in and out quick with a lot of quality picks for the afternoon and the evening's action. So, Jovan, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going all right. Yesterday I only had two plays. I wanted to save some bullets for today, and that's basically what I'm doing because I'm unloading the clip on today, between the NFL, college basketball, and the NBA. So, I'm here for it.
Yeah, yesterday for me was just a little bit tough. I mean, I didn't want to step on any landmines, and I ended up, stepping on two of them. I got Villanova, fell apart. Iowa decided to not get off the bus. And oh boy, yeah, UCLA. I don't know. Maybe it took him a game for Mick Cronin to kind of that wanted to chop their heads off. Sort of press conference to kick in last year. It was after that 46-point loss to Utah, and then they went on and won like 8 of their next 9. And, well, UCLA didn't have the response early, but they crushed them last night. But
yeah, I mean the crazy thing about yesterday was I didn't play any college basketball at all, but most of the things I would have played would have hit. So this is one of those things where you show some restraint, and the games crack. That's in the NBA. My looks in the NBA that I had that I gave out on the drive through. A lot of those hit as well. So this is one of those things. Where you fall back. You don't want to. You want to be conservative. For a night, and it ends up everything. Or mostly everything. Were the right looks. So hopefully, because I'm unloading today. Hopefully, the same thing happens.
I'm trying to wonder. I'm thinking to myself, who's going to have more plays today, Jovan or I? Because this is one day where I actually kind of went a little bit crazy today. So, I will say this: if you are a volume bettor and you want to get in a ton of action today, pair the two of us up on the 2-for-1 capper promotion, because I can tell you, you're probably going to get at least 45, 50 plays, I can imagine. So some of them may overlap, but you'll get tons of action. I can assure you that. This is probably my biggest card. Either, I mean, it'll be for this year for sure. Maybe even, maybe one of my biggest cards of all time. So we'll see. We got plenty on the card today, so let's not waste any time. Let's just get right into it. Like I said, we're going to try to get you guys in and out fairly efficiently today. So, Jay, a little bit. I don't know if he's got the meat sweats or what's going on, but he'll be back tomorrow. He told me he should be back tomorrow. We're going to start with college hoops. We're going to go with the 12 to 1 o'clock time slot. Kind of broke it down. 2 o'clock time slot is absolutely massive today, but I'm just going to highlight the big games, and then if there's anything else sort of in the middle, we'll kind of throw that in there as well. But for 12 o'clock, we've got Alabama, Kentucky, Clemson, Pitt, Creighton, UConn, Houston, UCF, Georgia Tech, Florida State, Virginia, Louisville, Auburn, Georgia. Those are the headliner games. You also got other games. Oh, sorry, and Kansas State, Kansas. You got other ones like George Mason, George Washington, and some other Horizon League MAC thrown in there as well. Jovan, is there anything you like in that 12 to 1 o'clock time slot?
Yeah, we're gonna roll with the Crimson Tide to bounce back from that loss they took to Ole Miss at home. I might add. Now they're going on the road facing a Kentucky team who's 11-0 at home. Sounds like a perfect spot, to kick them off their high horse. Mark Pope, he's been doing the job, in his first year in at UK, but I just think in this spot, two teams evenly matched, one team coming off the loss. I expect for them to travel on the road and get it done at Rupp. And we're gonna look towards UConn. UConn I don't know if they got well, who's the kid that's been out for a
McNeely.
few days? Yeah, McNeely. I don't know if he's back for this one, but I don't know if they need him against this Creighton team on the road. On the road, Creighton's just a different team. They're not shooting the ball from three overall. As good as what they did last year. Well, last year they was like what top three in 3-point percentage. Now they only hitting at what like a 33% clip. So not the same team. And in the hostile environment in stores at noon, I don't like that spot for them. I expect UConn to get it done and get it done by margin.
Yeah, I like that Alabama play. It's hard for me to get there, but I mean, catching what now 3? I think I can get there. Alabama 3-0 off a loss. Yeah, I think this is going to be a track meet. I think it's going to be tight. Wouldn't be surprised if Alabama won outright. I'm going to go with Pitt laying the 2.5, 3, whatever you can get it at against Clemson. Clemson on a roll, but Pitt. This just feels like a good buy low spot on Pitt. 3 straight losses. Back home and taking on Clemson. I think the Pitt can definitely do enough here. They have Ish Leggett and I'm forgetting the other guy's name. Hold on, let me because I don't want to butcher it. Ish Leggett and Jalen Lowe. And these guys have been absolutely crushing it. And I mean, look at the losses that Pitt took over that 3-game losing streak: Duke, Louisville, and Florida State. I'm not shaming them for any of those.
I'll shame him. I'll shame him for that Cardinals one for the Louisville one last
fair
Saturday.
enough. Fair enough. But I mean, at least it was more competitive than the other ones were.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that, but they were also at home and were losing
True.
for the majority of that game. So,
True.
not a good job by them. They've been kind of slumping, and they're facing a Clemson team who they haven't. I don't think they've beaten them since 2015. It's been 12 straight losses. So
Yeah.
it's an ugly scene.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff Capel, he has his boys not lately, but he's had his boys ready. Throughout the season, except for these last handful of games. But this is a spot at home. I mean, they're supposed to get it done, but it's a long line of losses that they taken from Clemson.
But the thing for me with Clemson is that the majority of their losses have come on the road. They lost to Louisville on the road, South Carolina on the road, Boise State on the road. Their 2 wins on the road in conference have come against Miami and Georgia Tech. 2 teams I'm really not all that high on. Pitt is still a decent team. Like I said, this is sort of bottom of the market for Pitt right now. Off of 3 straight losses, back at home. I think Pitt shows up here, snaps that losing streak.
It's definitely a Pitt spot.
Yeah. What else is there in this time slot? I like Kansas State against Kansas. I know Kansas State's been awful, and I've bashed Kansas State a lot this season. But for me, Kansas just does not seem like they have the same punch, that they're not that imposing Kansas team that we've become used to seeing year after year. And this is a rivalry, so catching 16 points in a rivalry game that I could easily see Kansas State coming in the back door with. I'll take Kansas State plus the 16. I just don't. I think this is just a case of too many points. So Kansas State plus the points for me.
Yeah, I mean the Hunter Dickinson era hasn't been so kind to Bill Self. He's just not. It's a square peg in a round hole type of situation. He's not one of their guys. They deal with athletes. They deal with top recruits. And while he's a top recruit, he's just not, a high flyer. He's not an athlete at all. So, in Michigan, he fit in Michigan. He fits in other different situations, other systems. But, you're forcing it with him is what I'm really trying to say.
Yeah.
So, they're still a good team. Don't get me wrong, but they're just not the top echelon team that that we've come to know from the Jayhawks since 30. For 40 years.
Yeah. They had money to spend.
Yeah. So you got to spend it on somebody.
Yeah, they had $6 million to throw around. So let's just throw it at the tall guy, the 7'1" guy, and see if he'll come over. But I will move on to the 2:00 time slot, and then this is going to get its own window because there are so many solid games in this time slot. But the headliners: Arizona, Texas Tech, Davidson, Rhode Island, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Xavier, Marquette, St. Bonaventure, Duquesne, Arizona State, Cincinnati, SMU, Miami, and there's other ones that are in there. Princeton, Dartmouth. If you're into Ivy League, Yale, Columbia. If you're into the MAC, Toledo, Ball State, Missouri Valley, Belmont, Evansville. What else is here? Yeah, some solid matchups. So, anything in the 2:00 time slot for you, Joanne?
Let's check something real fast before. Now this is for me, it's a Texas Tech spot, but nevertheless I'm on Arizona. Arizona, they're undefeated in conference play. Looking real good after taking some losses in the non-conference portion of the schedule. Not saying that they're gonna win this game outright, but I do think that at the end of the day, it's gonna be one of those one possession games. Now, like I said, it's a Texas Tech spot, so with that said, they could boat race them. But I just like what I've seen out of the Wildcats. So my money's got to be on them. I'm gonna fade Radford in this spot. You're facing the Charleston Southern team who's taken 3 straight L's, but being at home facing the Radford team who they be getting the job done. I think that Charleston Southern gets it done. Going down the line, I haven't bet on Virginia Tech so far this year, but taking the points at home, home dog situation against the Wake Forest team who has a lot to be desired shooting the ball. Let's just say that. I think I might want my money on the Hokies. What else? And Cornell. I'll rock with Cornell in this spot. I really like fading Penn. Penn's is one of those teams where you see them, they're usually in any situation, they're usually down a whole boatload of points unless they're facing a team that's, either on their level or, slightly below the level. But Cornell, they're one of the, top handful of teams in the Ivy. So I respect them to do nasty things to Penn. I can go on and on, but that'll stop there.
All right, let's see here. First of all, people who are commenting in the section, if you go with Jamal Hill, you're burning your money. It's Yuri Prohaska all the way tonight. I'm sorry, I still laugh when I see Jamal Hill get punched in the face by Alex Pereira. Give me Wake Forest. I think Wake Forest is just a far, far better team than what they showed early on this season. We're starting to see it with some of their recent victories. They're starting to put it together. Virginia Tech for me is just one of the, just a bad team. We've seen 4 straight wins for Wake Forest. Syracuse, NC State, Miami, and Stanford, not necessarily the strongest of schedules, but it signs this team is headed in the right direction. Virginia Tech, they've been having some, decent performances, back-to-back wins over Cal and NC State, but I think from a talent perspective, Wake Forest is just the better and the deeper team. So I'm going to take Wake Forest in that one. I'm also going to take Arizona State. I have no idea why Cincinnati is up to double digits here. I know Arizona State's missing their freshman scorer. I think Sanon, I think is his name. It's around, I think he's a double-digit scorer, but Cincinnati is just when they play a team with a pulse is when they've struggled to really put teams away. Cincinnati, they just played a bunch of cupcakes in the non-conference portion of their schedule, and when they had to take the step up in class, they either fell short or they were in a dogfight. And I mean, they were just held to 40 points by Kansas. They only beat Colorado by 6. They beat them on the road, but still 6 points. They got blown out by a Baylor team that I don't think is very good, or at least as good as a lot of metrics would say they are. Arizona, 5-point loss. Okay, a loss to Kansas State on the road. The quality wins that they have are, for me, Dayton on a neutral floor and Xavier. But outside of that, they lost to Villanova, and the rest of their schedule, Howard, Grambling State, Alabama State, Georgia Tech, Northern Kentucky, Nichols, Morehead State, Arkansas Pine Bluff. So this Cincinnati team does nothing for me, especially in Big 12 play. I think they were a paper tiger coming into conference play, and I think that we're starting to see them get exposed a little bit. And I think Arizona State is live in this game. So give me Arizona State. And I'm going to lean towards Kansas City against North Dakota. I like this Kansas City defense. They're the only team in the Summit League that plays defense. At least consistent defense. I think North Dakota's going to have some issues with that. So give me Kansas City plus the points there. All right, we'll move on.
Hold on real quick before we move on. Just going to throw out Xavier out there. Marquette, at this point, you could tell it's going to be one of those games that's going to hover around that number, whether it's 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere around there, and that's at best. So in those situations, you're going to have a foul game situation going on late in this game, and with that, I want the points in my pocket. So I'll back the Musketeers and Stanford. They got beat by 13 points at Wake, but they stuck around the East Coast and facing the UNC team who I'm not really impressed with. I'll rather take the points than lay it over there in Chapel Hill.
All right, we'll move on to 2:15 to 3:30. That's just a bit of a smaller time slot. We just did Stanford, North Carolina. So St. Louis, Richmond, Purdue, Oregon, Wisconsin, USC, Colorado, Oklahoma State. There's some other smaller games in there, or at least smaller conference games in there. Miami, Ohio, Kent State, North Dakota State, South Dakota. Someone's calling me. I'm not on board right now. Tennessee, Vanderbilt at 3:30 as well. And then some Sun Belt action at 3:30. So I'm going to go with USC at home here against Wisconsin. I'm really impressed with what USC has done as of late. They just hung 99 on Iowa. Maybe that's indicative of what I was doing on the road after what we saw with Iowa against UCLA last night. But I think they can hang with Wisconsin here. And I think that I think this line is tight for a reason. I think USC has a really good shot at pulling off the outright upset here. So I'll take the Trojans there. And I'm going to take Tennessee. I'm going to lay the points on the road. I know it's Vanderbilt. It's that weird layout of that court where, you've got the benches underneath the baskets, and it's, just a very weird gym. But I need to see more from Vanderbilt before only taking 6 points against Tennessee, who still has one of the most ferocious defenses in the country. We've seen Tennessee pull out in bigger spots than this. I think the Vols got it done, so I'm going to lay the points with Tennessee here. What do you like?
Yeah, the only one that I like is I like Purdue on the road at Oregon. It's just a situation where Oregon, they only have 2 losses this season. They're coming off a successful road trip, and in that situation, I want to fade them. The Boilermakers, I think they are finding their way in the post Zach Edey era, and I just don't really think that that Altman's bunch is that good. So I think that Purdue gets it done. Now that you're getting points with them, 2.5. So if you want to do that, do so. But I'll be backing them on the money line in some form or fashion.
All right, we'll go to the 4 p.m. time slot. We'll go up to 5:30. We've got Texas, Florida. We've got Bradley, Murray State, Notre Dame, Syracuse, App State, James Madison, UIC, Valpo. We got South Carolina, Oklahoma. We've got Colorado State, Wyoming, Loyola, Chicago, and Dayton. We've got Iowa State, West Virginia at 5 Eastern. Some solid Sun Belt action. Chattanooga, Furman. Got Northeastern and Charleston. We'll stop it there. Oral Roberts, South Dakota State at 5:15, and then some Swaction at 5:30. Giovanni, you like anything here? 4 to 5:30 Eastern.
I'm gonna roll with James Madison. I'm gonna roll with the Dukes. And kind of get in the way of App State because they've been rolling, but I just think that, it has to stop at some point. And against the James Madison team, who, they're on this is a revenge situation. App State has, run roughshod over them the last few games, but being at home, I think that I think they get it done in this one, so I win. I think it's gonna be a close game either way. So, if you got the stomach for it, take it on the money line. It's at 150. My whole philosophy with that is it's really a case by case basis. Whether you lay the points if you think it's gonna be a close game, or just take it on the money line. But I think in this one it might be that close to where you might want to take James Madison. To not get burned if it's a 2-point game, and they're on the right side. And I'm on South Carolina. Wonder if I could find it. Who they playing again?
Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma. So Oklahoma, they're laying 6.5 points. I really don't want anything to do with the Sooners, laying anything substantial. And that's 3 possessions. So that's in my book. That's substantial. Porter Moser, he might lose his job this year. That's just the bottom line because they're 0 for. I think both teams are 0 for. No, actually, no, both teams aren't 0 for. In conference play. Unless, but regardless of that, I know that Oklahoma's 0 for, and while they might win, I don't think they're going to win by margin. It's just not the type of team, it seems like, that could get any separation on their opponents, and they've lost several games straight. So I want to have points in my pocket whenever I see them on the docket.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. Oh man, I'm gonna go with. Trying to decide here. There's a lot of games that I like. Give me West Virginia plus the points against Iowa State. Again, I think it's just another spot where West Virginia, solid team at home. I know we're kind of waiting to see if Tucker DeVries is going to come back, but it looks like they're throwing out the word medical red shirt for DeVries. But Iowa State coming off of that big demolishing of Kansas, now going to Morgantown, a tough place to go on the road and win historically. I just think West Virginia takes it to them and gives them a game here. I think the line is still around 6. Am I wrong? Well, let me find it. There's just a lot going on behind the scenes there. I'm trying to keep up. 6.5. So I make this line closer to 3, to be honest. As good as what Iowa State is, I just think the home court, gives a couple points to West Virginia here to get it at 6.5. I wouldn't be surprised if West Virginia put a scare into them. And I'm also going to take McNeese. I'm going to lay the 15.5. McNeese starting to show themselves as the class of the of the Southland. Probably going tournament, to the tournament again, unless a team like Texas A&M Corpus Christi has anything to say about it. But there's just so much of a gap between, McNeese and the rest of the Southland teams that it's just hard to overlook. So give me McNeese laying the 15.5. All right, we'll move on to. I forgot to write down the timestamp for that one. Let's go to the 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern games. Just write down the time here. We got at 6 and 7 Eastern. We've got Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Missouri, Cal, NC State, East Tennessee State, Samford. We got Drake, Indiana State. We got San Jose State, Nevada, We've got New Mexico State and Liberty, East Carolina, Wichita State, Northern Iowa, Southern Illinois. So decent 6 to 7 o'clock time slot, and then we'll get to the rest of the card in the final time slot. But for me here, I'm going to roll with Arkansas. I've been critical on Arkansas, but this just feels like a sell high spot against Missouri. Arkansas backs against the wall. If they can't get this done, I think I'm ready to just mark Arkansas State as DOA. I think they'd be done. I've said before, Coach Cal, I think, is a better recruiter than he is a coach. I think that's just the long and short of it. But I think that Arkansas, like I said, it's now or never for the Razorbacks. I think they can, maybe catch Missouri here. Missouri, maybe their ego a little bit inflated here. Wins over Florida, LSU, Kansas earlier this season. Maybe Missouri's legit. Who knows? But I think that for this game, I think that Arkansas can put a scare into them here. I'm also going to take Drake over Indiana State. Indiana State got whitewashed against Bradley by 53 points. Drake, not necessarily a team that wins games with offense, but they can play suffocating defense, and that could be more than enough for them to win this game by double digits. Indiana State, again, another team I've kind of checked out on, and I think Drake goes in, takes care of business, wins this one, gets the cover. Give me Drake laying the points. Javon?
Yeah, I mean, they did lose by 53 points. It was an ugly scene, for the Sycamores. But I think that in the first half, I think they get it done. So I'm gonna take them on the money line first half. When you lose like that, the next game is gut check time. And I usually like to play teams who get blown out in the NBA in those situations where they get blown out, then the next game they come back, they got something to prove. They want to get that stench of that loss, that ugly loss, out of their system. So bring it to the college game and say the same thing for the Sycamores. Now whether they they win or cover, full game, that remains to be seen. I would lean towards them as well. They're a hell of a shooting team, but then again, Drake, they do play top-notch defense. So, you might want to tread lightly, for full game, but I think that first half is a hell of a play. You get some plus money out the deal, taking the money line. I'm also on Arkansas, back against the wall situation, in a road environment. That sometimes that's better than being at home and getting, booed out the gym, taking the L. You know what I mean? So I think that they get it done, keep it close at the very least. You might also want to take a money line play for them first half as well. So if you want to do a quick parlay, Indiana State first half and Arkansas Razorbacks first half, money line parlay, go ahead and do so. Thank me later. And I'm on Cal. Same situation with Stanford. They took an L that first game, out east. Now they're still here, getting acclimated to the time zone change, and I think that they keep it close enough for the cover.
All right, move on to the final time slot of the day, the 8 p.m. Eastern to 12 midnight Eastern time slot. We got, starting at 8 Eastern, UC San Diego, UC Riverside. We got Duke, Boston College, St. John's, Seton Hall, Tarleton, Grand Canyon, for those of you like the WAC. We've got Denver, St. Thomas in the Summit League. Summit League. I'm running on no sleep, forgive me. LSU, Texas A&M, BYU, Utah, Santa Clara, Gonzaga, Oregon State, San Francisco, St. Mary's, Pepperdine, Cal Poly, UC Irvine, UC Davis, UC Santa Barbara, and heading to the island, Cal State Bakersfield, and Hawaii. Javon, anything here?
I'm on Santa Clara. It's just a situation of Gonzaga not being able to, cover these big spreads, these inflated spreads that the odds makers don't seem to want to adjust. They want to keep on hanging these big numbers, and the opponent, they've been covering them. And the case last game against Oregon State, winning outright. So Santa Clara is one of those teams who they know this Gonzaga team. They have been competitive against them in years past, and I want the points in that one. I want Utah as well. Utah versus BYU. That's a rivalry game. And to me, BYU, while they're a good shooting team, they're a bit soft. And being in a road environment, at Utah, I'll take that point, or I'll just play it on the money line at plus 100. So those are the two looks that I have in this one. And and these are my guys. UC Irvine, but I'm gonna fade them in this spot. Think it's just a little bit too many points. Last game of the other night, little bit of a degenerate play, but nonetheless, I'm on Cal Poly.
All right. Well, for me in this last time slot, we're gonna go with UC San Diego playing the points against UC Riverside. This UC San Diego team is legit. They have finally shaken off that transition period where they don't have to wait any longer. They can go and try to make the NCAA tournament this year. And I'll tell you, the Tritons are legit. Eric Olin's done a great job with that program. UC Riverside, middle of the pack team in the Big West, but I just think the UC San Diego can take down the Highlanders here. UC San Diego's done so well against that conference for the better part of the last couple seasons. So give me UC San Diego. Give me Duke to throttle Boston College. I don't even care if it's a really public play. Just take the biggest favor on the. I don't care. Look at what Duke's done for the most part in conference play. Yeah, you take away Notre Dame, which of course I was on that one, but they beat Miami by 35. Beat Pitt by 29. It's a decent Pitt team. They beat SMU on the road by 27. Beat Virginia Tech at home by 23. Georgia Tech by 26. They're kicking ass and taking names. You can still bet on Duke to have an undefeated conference season, and it's plus 250. So it's like, that's how far ahead Duke is from the rest of the ACC. I mean, KenPom is projecting a 19-1 mark in conference play for Duke. So for me, I gotta take Duke here against Boston College. Boston College might be the worst team in the ACC. And I'm gonna take the over in BYU Utah. Two teams that can just flat out shoot. I think they're going to try to shoot the lights off against each other. There's just going to be a ton of threes, jacked up in this game. I could see both teams getting into the 80s. So give me the over in BYU Utah to round things out. All right, we'll move on to Javon's favorite segment, the NHL.
Oh, God.
I know you probably don't have anything, so don't worry. I wasn't expecting anything, but I'll just toss out a couple quickly here. I'm also gonna have the wrap round up after the show. So if there wasn't a game, it was not a game that I gave out, I'll have something there. And for anyone who's gonna watch the wrap round, it might be cutting it close to the Devils and Flyers game. Just be forewarned. I am still gonna give out a play in that game on the wrap round. If it's close or you get it in, you can maybe live bet it, but I'm just giving everyone the fair warning now. It's just been a hell of a day trying to get. I'm still putting in premiums as we're talking. So, for today's card, the two free plays that I really like. I hope my dad's not watching because he'll kill me as a Leafs fan. I'm taking Montreal plus money against Toronto. Montreal's just playing so well right now. In Toronto, they're inconsistent at the moment. They did just beat the Devils, but Montreal just has a weird way of being competitive with Toronto when you least expect it. Montreal's won 5 of their last 6, 8 of their last 10. I think Montreal can get it done here. The price is telling me that the books really don't want to get. They're begging you to take Toronto at minus 140. Toronto usually gets some sort of biased price that at least is like minus 160 or something like that, but Plus 120 with Montreal. I'll still take it. I'm also going to take the let's see here. The Columbus Blue Jackets plus money against the Rangers. I know the Rangers, they've started to turn it around a little bit, pick out some wins here and there. They've won 3 of their last 4 and 4 of their last 6, but what the Rangers are doing is taking care of business against teams in bad spots and bad situations. Columbus isn't that. A lot of their recent games have come at home where they've been a much better team, 16-5-3 at home this season. But Columbus has won 6 in a row. They're playing with some confidence right now. So to get them at plus 155, I think it's worth taking a shot on here. So Columbus and Montreal are the two that I really like for this time slot. But we'll move on to the NBA. We're going to go 3-3 with the games here. We're going to go with the Suns and the Pistons, the Hawks and the Celtics, and the Pacers and the Sixers. Jovan, any of these 3 that you like? You're on mute.
I'm gonna back the Pistons on the money line. It's just a situation where, and if they do win this one, I think they'll swept out the season series with the Suns. But after taking that L against the Pacers, as favorites, I might add, and as favorites, they're basically, or home favorites, that is, they're basically a fade. But as underdogs, I'm gonna take a shot with them. You're looking at a Suns team who they're a jump shooting team. If they're not hitting the jump shots, they're basically dead in the water. Really no inside presence. And against a team like the Pistons, who they're young, they're running up and down the court. I think they're gonna give the Suns trouble in this spot. So I'll bypass the points, and I'll take them on the money line for a little bit of plus money.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Hawks plus the 11. I know the laundry list of injuries for the Hawks, but for me, it's just the Celtics after a win. It's just been so money this season. I think it's 6-21-1. The Celtics are after a win, and the Hawks have been competitive. In some spots when they're catching a decent amount of points, a lot more competitive than they've been in years past. So I'm going to take the Hawks plus 11.5. Wouldn't surprise me if the Celtics just kind of took their eye off the ball, won this one by 6 or 7 points, and just got in and got out. And we'll go to the other 3 NBA games. We've got the Warriors laying a boatload against the Wizards, the Cavs and the Timberwolves, and the Rockets and the Blazers. Let's see. I'm up first here. I'm going to go with the Cavs. I'm going to lay the points. I keep saying it. You don't just fluke into the name, the House of Disappointment. I think this is a spot where Minnesota could just fall apart. This for me is a Cavs spot, coming off the humiliating loss to the Thunder in a game where they were just outclassed for the better part of 3 quarters before making it look a little bit more respectable in garbage time. I think the Timberwolves are just in the wrong place, wrong time. The thing for the Timberwolves, and I said it in the video for the game against the Knicks, and I was on the wrong side of that one, but the thing with the Timberwolves is that their best work is done against teams that they can hold down defensively, and the Cavaliers are not that. The Cavaliers are, a top-tier offense in the NBA, and I think back-to-back with travel, coming off the win, over the Knicks, the team that you just traded for, trade away your former first overall pick and all that, against the Cavs team that is hungry to bounce back. Yeah, I got to take the Cavs here. Cavs have also been money against the Western Conference this season, so Cavs laying the points for me. Johan?
Yeah, so I really don't want to do this, but I'm gonna back the Wizards. It's a lot of points, and I just don't think that the Warriors are built to blow out anybody, let alone the Washington Wizards. last game that they did play, they only lost by 7. The Washington Wizards did. So, you know, I mean, listen, they're a bad team. So, you're basically throwing your money up in the air, hoping that it comes back, back in these guys. But, I'm gonna do it in this spot. Just don't want to lay it with the Warriors team, who I really have no confidence in. And it's a Jordan Poole. It's a Jordan Poole bowl. So if he's gonna get up for any game, if he is playing, that this is the game he's gonna get up for, because he does some weird things on the court. If you ever watch Washington Wizards games, um, yeah, this is definitely a Cleveland Cavaliers spot. I will say that. Um, it's a lot of points. Is there any injury news for this one?
Or which one, sorry?
For the Cavaliers and Timberwolves. But it's sitting at 7. I don't, I'm looking at the line. I'm like, something's up. I mean, they just beat beat the Knicks. Gave them a little smack at the Garden. So
DiVincenzo was, well, it hasn't updated, but it was DiVincenzo that was out with a toe sprain. Leonard Miller and Terrence Shannon Jr. Those were all the injury designations for last night. I haven't seen anything updated for today.
I mean, yeah. So it's a Cleveland spot, but do I really want to lay this many points? Even though the Cavs generally this season have smacked up anything moving. So it's one of those things where the number, I don't want to touch the number, but I do think it's a Cavs spot. So it would be, at this point, it would be Cavs or nothing.
Right. Yeah, we'll move on to our final part of the show. We got the NFL playoff action for today. First, we're going to go to the AFC matchup on the board. Texans and the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Texans plus the points. For me, I know it's Kansas City. They've essentially had 3 weeks off coming into this game, or at least the starters have. The thing about the Texans is that they were competitive in that game against the Chiefs a few weeks ago. I think it was like a 1-point game in the third quarter, but then obviously the injury to Tank Dell happened, and I think that just took the Texans out of the game. I think that just shook them mentally, and they just never mentally recovered from that. And the thing about the Chiefs this season is, more often than not, they were letting teams hang around. They were playing in a lot of closer games than you would probably expect, your back-to-back Super Bowl champions to play. A lot of single-digit games. The Texans have the ability to keep this one close. I know it's a dome team going outside, but it's not like CJ Stroud is not used to cold weather, and he played at Ohio State. So, I think that this is going to be just a close game. I think it's going to be a one-score game, and I think that the Texans could be live here. I'm not saying they will win this game, but I'm just saying I think they put a scare into the Chiefs here. I think they keep this game close. Give me the Texans plus the 8.5. Javon?
Yeah, so if you want to roll with the Texans, for me at least, the best move is to take them early in the first quarter. So whether you want to take them on the spread or money line, I think the first quarter is a play for them. My train of thought with that is, the Chiefs, their main players or their starters haven't played since week 17. So that's 25, 26, whatever days ago. That's a long time to not play football. So they're gonna come out slow. That's what I believe is gonna happen in that first frame. So I think that the Texans could get one up on them, get an early touchdown or early field goal. The Chiefs get nothing on the board, and you're going into the second quarter with a Texans lead. So that's the scenario that I have in this one, and I'm gonna take advantage. I'm gonna put a little sign on it, gets a little plus money line action on it.
All right, the other game, Commanders and Lions, probably one of the more exciting games, if not the most exciting game of the divisional round. Javon, what do you like here?
Sheesh. I do think it's gonna be at least in the beginning of the game. I think it's gonna be a bit of a shootout. Um, so I think in the first half, I think it's gonna be you're gonna go over the total in this one. Fast track indoor stadium, full field. Two teams that have a lot to be desired. There's a lot to be desired on the defensive end. Even though we have seen the Lions, tighten up the screws, especially in that last game against Minnesota, on the defensive end. And for that matter, you could say the same thing about the Commanders because last game, they did do their job as far as holding Baker Mayfield and company, to a lower point total. With that said, I think we're going to see a lot of fireworks in the first half. So I'll take the over in the first half. Second half, in-game adjustments, halftime adjustments. You might, see something else. But I think in the first half, you're gonna see a lot of points.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the full game under. It's for me. It's gone a bit too far. I still think that this Detroit defense is rock solid. Might give Jaden Daniels a bit of a shock to the system after playing Tampa Bay last week. And let's face it, they escaped with one there. But I also think that the secondary for Washington is starting to look legit as well. And I think this is just going to be a lower scoring game. Like I said, I think the total is just a simple case of the total being too high. So give me the under between the Commanders and the Lions. All right. Javon, what do you got for sale over at Pick Dogs Premium today?
Well, right now on the board, I got a 5-pack for the noon time slot in college basketball. I have a 3-pack in the next time slot, which would be the 2 o'clock to 3:30 time slot. And then I got another 5-pack going in the 4 o'clock to 5:30 time slot in college basketball. I'll have a nighttime whether it's a 3-pack, 5-pack, or a couple different iterations of a 3-pack for college basketball. I'll also have a couple NBA players going, and I'll have multiple plays for the NFL for the divisional round games that we got going today. So it's a lot of action. I still got to put plays on the board, but when it's all said and done, it's going to be over 20 plays. That's just how it is. Right now, I got 14 on the board. So if you're dealing with something long term, rest assured you're gonna get to see a lot of action from me.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm sort of in the same boat. I've got a ton of. I said it, to lead off the show. I've got probably my biggest card of the entire season, maybe of my entire time at Pick Dogs. I'm locking it on today's card. Ton of college hoops. Got some NFL, NBA, NHL. So there's going to be a bunch of different packages up. Starts with my $15 play of the day, which is going up right now as we speak. Also got a bunch of packages that will go up just based on the time slot of the action for college hoops. So definitely, like I said, this is the time to hop on something long term. For me, the 3-day, 7-day, and 30-day passes are all less than buying each of today's daily packages individually. And it gets you obviously a lot more plays than just today. So make sure that you check that out. And, let's make some money. We said it earlier, if you pair up Jovan and I on today's card, you're probably going to get upwards of probably 45, 50 plays. So if you're a volume better, you can take that. You also don't have to bet every single play that you get on the premium side. It's just these are the plays that we're locking in. So, definitely something that's worth checking out. And like I said, the best bang for your buck. And remember to use that promo code PICK at checkout for 15% off.
I like to get my money all day. So, it starts early and it ends late, and I got it all the way through.
Exactly. It's not we're not just front loading it. It's all the way there. So all right. Well, what time it is. Parlay. Giovanni, you got a parlay for today?
Yeah, I'll throw a couple together. I already gave you that one Indiana State first half money line, Arkansas Razorbacks first half money line parlay. That's a 2-team, which should get you a little chunk of change there. We're gonna roll with Alabama, and we're gonna match that up with Arizona, the two A's. Um, we are also going to go with no, what we'll do one more for the NFL, and that would be Houston first quarter and the uh, Commanders and Lions over first half.
All right. I'm going to roll with, let's see here. No college hoops for mine. We're going to go with Wake Forest. I'm going to go with St. Bonaventure. And let's go with, scrolling through the cards, see if I remember what else I like. USC. St. Bonaventure, USC, and Wake Forest. All right, I think that's it. Anything else, Jovan?
Not at all.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Appreciate it. You know, like I said, it was a quick show, very concise. You know, there was no filibustering. We just went through it. Want to make sure that we got you guys in and out here with plenty of times, you know, to get your plays in for the rest of the afternoon. Plenty of time to get those parlays in. So remember, you can always find our best bets at Pick Dogs Premium. Got tons of content, a lot of free videos on the board today on our YouTube channel. So make sure that you check that out. And yeah, let's make some money today. So appreciate everyone for joining us. We will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Jay should be back in the host chair and be able to make some money with the rest of the card. So we'll see you guys soon.
All right, get that money.